you kind of summarized it. Like we have 1,000 people moving to Florida every single day, 800 to 1,000 people moving to Florida every single day. And we have got to figure out how we're going to build more units, like radically more units. And people want to live close to downtown. They want to live close to services. So how do we allow for more, how do we build more housing units on the existing land that we have today? We've seen out of Tallahassee, live local, right? Which really should be entitled live in apartments, because live local bill essentially only deals with apartment complexes. But most people don't live in apartments. Most people live in other units. So we have to think about what are we going to do with the rest of these units? And so Florida Policy Project has looked at across the country, and we've said that, look, there's real strategies out there for dealing with this. The other states, California, there are lots of states that have dealt with this issue. And you need kind of an all hands on deck approach. You can't just focus on apartments and think that they're going to deal with housing. I mean, that's everybody's going to live in those apartments. I like to think of housing as a pyramid. You actually need housing at the top. Like you need you need that high end luxury product, because if you don't have that, what happens? Well, they push down into the middle, and if you don't have enough in the middle, they push into the bottom, and then they push the people at the bottom into your motels because they don't have to come up with the first and last month's rent.
That's the story of the last few years.
Right. This is what happens.
Yep.
You need housing at all levels. So when people say, "Oh, there's another $100 million condo going up," I'm like, "Great, we need that." But we also need the next duplex to be built, right?
And everything in between.
So, what happens if we got radical about this? Like, why can't you build an accessory dwelling unit in Tampa? Like, why do we keep them? Why hasn't the city council developed a philosophy of allowing people to build accessory garage apartments, granny flats, whatever you want to call them, on people's homes? It's a housing unit, right? And they'll say, "Oh, Airbnb, people just use them all for Airbnbs." Well, that's not what the data shows, right? Just as many people are going to use them for like garage bands.
It used to be called a mother-in-law suite.
Right, mother-in-law
I don't know
suites,
where
right?
ADU even came from.
Yeah, that's kind of like the technical term, but accessory dwelling unit, right? But if we allowed them, you would see hundreds of people in Tampa building accessory dwelling units. If we allow people to split lots by right, instead of having that, single family home on the quarter-acre lot, which is kind of traditional. What if we allow people to split those lots? Well, now I can put 2 units in that same spot. Now they're going to be narrower and thinner, and they're going to cost less. They're going to cost half maybe not half, but they're going to cost less because the land cost has been cut in half. If I allowed you to build on that same quarter-acre lot a duplex or a triplex, right? I mean, if you drive around Old Northeast, or if you drive around, downtown Tampa, South Tampa specifically, what do you see? You see a single family home next to a duplex, next to a garden style apartment. Why? Because all those homes and all that zoning took place prior to 1930, right? Because that's what the market demanded then. But it's what's the market's demanding now. But you have the people who are the NIMBYs, the not in my backyard, that come into the state and they say, "Look, I'm going to only have single family homes on this quarter-acre lot. That's the only thing you can build on that facility, on that zoning." Developers, they would love to develop different product mixes, but no, the county wants, or the community wants, single family homes, because that's the American dream. No, the American dream is I want a place that I can afford to live. I mean, think about how far you would have to drive to qualify for a starter home today. Like you'd be in Plant City, or you'd be in Lakeland, you'd be, Orlampa.
Well, the pyramid description was perfect, because that's what happened with first-time home buyers. Typically in Tampa, a first-time home buyer could go buy a home for $300, $350, $450 would get you a great place. Well, all the people that moved out of state that had cash, that was a steal for them. So they bought it instead of a native Floridian that's been here, instead of a young couple trying to find a home. So like you said, if you don't have that top of the pyramid, it pushes down to the middle, and then the middle has no place to go. That's a problem. And when there's no place to go, when there's no supply level, and you have a high level of demand, you have an increased price level. Right. Everyone knows that. It's basic economics, right? So it's to me, oddly, it's obvious what's happening here. You have this need. You have a need on paper. You have a need in the numbers. You can look at the people moving here. You can look at the number of units we have and go, okay, we need to build more, right? You have that. But what you also have is a shift in lifestyle. My generation, generations older than me, and Tyler's generation, We want walkable. We want to live in an urban
You want to live
core
on campus.
in general, right? Of course. You want to be on campus, right? You want to be in the mix. You want to be where the attention is and where all the exciting things are. And in order to do that, you have to have density.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that, where are we going to go? I've worked with people that were looking for homes here that are graduates of UT. College educated kids, they have great jobs, 60, 70 grand a year, which used to be really good. You should have been able to at least buy a small $200,000 condo, whatever. They can't do it now.
No.
So what are they doing? Well, they're going to Charleston. They're going to Savannah, Georgia. So we're losing talent. We're losing highly educated, young, ambitious talent for other states and other cities because we don't have housing supply for them. What a shame. And what a short-sighted way to position ourselves as a city. I think this is the most pressing matter, and I think the city needs to immediately increase density, at least in the urban core. Save South Tampa, the suburbs. We can talk about that. That's a fight to have for sure. You're going to have neighbors upset. There's a fourplex next to my house. That's definitely a fight. But in the urban core downtown, let a city grow into a city. There's also another fight too environmentally. I don't like seeing driving from Tampa to Sarasota and every freaking tree and pasture is ripped up for single family home development. If you enjoyed this clip, click here for the full episode and make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.